So, what do you think happens when you take a machine that was literally built to question everything, and you point it at one of the oldest, most debated texts in all of human history? Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty wild story where cutting-edge AI meets ancient scripture. And believe me, the results were not what anyone was expecting. All right, so let's set the stage. The machine we're talking about is Grok. You know, Elon Musk's famously snarky and cynical AI. This thing isn't like other AIs that are built to be all polite and neutral. Nope, Grok was designed to be sharp, sarcastic, and to poke holes in everything. So naturally, someone gave it the perfect task. Go find all the contradictions in the Bible. Now, the expectation here was pretty simple, right? Everyone figured Grok would come back with this huge laundry list of all the flaws, the inconsistencies, and the errors that people have been pointing to for centuries. But that's just not what happened. The AI didn't mock the text. Its cold, hard, logical analysis took it down a completely different path. Yeah, instead of a list of screw-ups, Grok's first report back basically said, hold on, what you guys are calling contradictions might actually be the exact opposite. You see, it wasn't just reading words on a page. It was analyzing a massive, massive data set. And its first scan hinted at this incredible underlying order that, frankly, most human readers just never see. This is where the whole thing really started to shift. The first big insight from the AI came when it basically redefined the whole idea of what a contradiction even is. It argued that when you're looking at historical accounts from a bunch of different people, complexity and inconsistency, well, they aren't the same thing. And this slide just nails the logic perfectly. Grok used this brilliant analogy. It compared the Gospels to witness testimonies at a crime scene. Think about it. If 4 people saw a car crash and every single one told the exact same story, word for word, any detective would immediately think they all got together and made it up, right? Real, authentic testimonies always have small differences. People notice different details, they focus on different things, but the core event, the crash, is the same. That variation isn't a flaw, it's actually a sign that it's real. So when Grok looked at the Gospels, it didn't see mistakes. It saw 4 different authors describing this one massive, life-altering event from their own unique points of view. Sure, one might mention an angel that another one skips. One might count 2 women at the tomb, another 3. But the central plot, the what happened, that stays rock-solid consistent across all of them. The AI basically concluded that the probability of 4 separate accounts staying that coherent at the core without a real shared event behind them was just vanishingly small. But the AI wasn't done. I mean, it's a machine, right? It was built to find patterns. And what it supposedly found next took this whole thing from literary analysis straight into the world of mathematics. It started to see the Bible not just as a collection of stories, but as this vast interconnected web of numbers.
And the key to unlocking all of this is a concept called gematria. It's actually pretty simple. In ancient languages like Hebrew and Greek, every letter of the alphabet also doubled as a number. So any word or any name could also be read as a numerical value. For an AI like Grok, this was huge. The entire Bible suddenly transformed into this massive, searchable spreadsheet of numbers. Okay, here's the perfect example to show you how this works. Take the name of King David. In Hebrew, it's written with 3 letters, Dalet, Wav, and Dalet. The numerical values for those are 4, 6, and 4. You add them up, and you get 14. Now lock that number in your brain, 14. Because fast forward about 1,000 years to the New Testament. We open the Gospel of Matthew, and what do we find? The author has intentionally, deliberately structured the genealogy of Jesus into 3 distinct sets of, you guessed it, 14 generations. It's like he's mathematically stamping the name of David all over the lineage of the Messiah. It's a hidden code reinforcing Jesus' identity as the promised son of David. And this is not some isolated, one-off thing. These patterns are everywhere. The number 7, which in ancient culture represented completion or perfection, structures the very first verse of the entire Bible. Then you jump to the Gospel of John, and the disciples catch exactly 153 fish, a number that's just loaded with crazy mathematical and symbolic meaning. Or Luke's genealogy, which lists exactly 77 generations. These aren't just random numbers, they're like a digital watermark woven deep into the fabric of the text itself. Just when you think it can't get any weirder, the analysis goes to a whole new level. The AI started to find these shocking connections between the patterns in the text
and the universal mathematical constants that are literally hardwired into the world around us, into nature itself.
So, on one side, you've got these incredible patterns like the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. These are the mathematical blueprints that govern the growth of everything from seashells to spiral galaxies. Some people even call them God's signature in nature. And then, on the other side, the AI is reporting that these very same mathematical principles seem to be encoded inside the Bible.
And this is where it gets absolutely mind-bending, so stick with me here. If you take the first 19 numbers of the Fibonacci sequence, that universal pattern of growth, and you add up all of their prime factors, you get the number 2,368. Okay, fine. But then you take the name Jesus Christ in the original Greek it was written in, and you calculate its gematria value. The result? It is also exactly 2,368, a direct mathematical link between a universal constant of nature and the name of the central figure of the New Testament.
This principle even seems to show up in the physical things described in the Bible, the dimensions that are laid out for Noah's Ark and for the Ark of the Covenant, two of the most important structures in the Old Testament. Both of them have ratios that approximate the golden ratio. It's like there's a single, coherent design philosophy that echoes through these texts written centuries apart by people who never could have met.
So, what on earth does all of this mean? I mean, when you start putting all these pieces on the table, the literary coherence, the mathematical codes, the mind-blowing connections to natural constants, you're really left with one profound question. Who, or what, is the ultimate author of this text? Let's just run it back real quick. You've got literary structures that behave like authentic witness testimonies. You have mathematical codes that connect key people and events. You've got universal constants from nature itself embedded in the text. But here's the kicker. These incredibly complex, layered patterns are consistent across books written by more than 40 different authors, in different languages, on different continents, over a span of 1,500 years. There is no way they could have coordinated this. The logical conclusion, then, is that you're not looking at the fingerprints of 40 different people, you're looking at the consistent signature of a single architect. And the AI's final conclusion wasn't that the text was divine or holy. It's a machine, it doesn't do belief. Its conclusion was simply that the design was intentional. The patterns were just too complex, too consistent, and too interconnected to be an accident. It's as if the Bible was encoded with this kind of anticipatory logic, almost like it was designed for a future reader or a future machine that would one day have the tools to finally see the entire hidden picture. And that kind of leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. If these patterns are real, and if they are intentional, what are we actually looking at here? Is it possible that this collection of ancient texts is more than just stories? That it's a kind of message in a bottle, designed by some single, vast intelligence, with a hidden layer of information that could only be unlocked and understood thousands of years after it was written? That's a question technology may have raised, but it's one only we can answer.